There was an interesting video of an exchange with a black Capitol police officer and one of the Trump terrorists. Now, I always told black folks, you never try to reason with those terrorists. You never try to explain anything to them. But I want you to really listen to what the terrorist is saying to the brother. Not so much, we'll talk about him, but just pay really close attention. Let's go roll that clip.
In the 1960s, I was maybe 7 years old during the riots in South Plainfield.
You grew up in the 60s, my people were dying every day. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
The judicial system worked.
Yeah.
You trust the process.
And that changed. There was no racism in the United States. There was no racism. There was none. Now they've recreated racism.
In your world.
They've recreated it.
Not in your world. So all my forefathers who hung on the strange fruit, it did work.
Well, what do you think? What do you think it's going to do for race relations when they make me pay you for reparations? What do you think that's going to do for race relations, officer? You think it's going to help? You think it's going to make white people like black people? That's what they want to do.
It worked.
That's what they want to do.
So you saw that, brother, and we have talked about the accounts of what black police officers were going through that day on our podcast. And if you're not part of our podcast, at least on YouTube, or you can also listen on Anchor, make sure you go over there. We always will let you know when we put up a new podcast. Now, in this exchange, one thing I don't agree with, and I never tell any of you to do, is try to reason with a white supremacist. Try to explain to them. Try to get them to see our side. They are the author of our confusion. They are the author of the majority of black people's nightmare, pain, and suffering. They're the author of it. Nobody else is them. The problems that black people have today, it traced right back to them. All the arguments black people that constantly arguing about all the time, it wasn't on us to have those arguments. Prior to us even having any knowledge of them, we wasn't arguing about silly things like colorism. Yes, it's silly because you go to the continent of Africa, that'll blow up your colorism argument. We wasn't arguing about, gender warring and all the things like that. All that comes from the white supremacists, having black people confused of who they are, because you're always trying to search for who you are. And I think it's sad in a lot of ways to see a lot of our people still in 2021 don't know who they are. So when they always come and say, oh, you always want to blame I'm gonna say the white supremacist. Yes, I'm gonna blame you. If it wasn't you, then I wouldn't say anything, right? But the white supremacist says something toward the end to him, okay? Now, of course, to the white supremacist, equality is oppression. Equality is racism to a white supremacist. I've said this before because they're so used to walking with an immunity of law. They're used to walking around that they can just say whatever, do whatever, and nothing happens. And you still see to a point that these slap on the wrist charges, talking about unlawful entry charges. Where the sedition at? And we got to keep saying, where's the sedition charges? Where's the terrorism charges that's going to come on these white supremacists? We can't just say, oh, if it was Black Lives Matter, we would have been shot. We would have had these charges and that's charged. No, you keep putting the pressure on them to say, charge these white supremacists. But we still have, white supremacists even in, the judicial seats, because remember the white supremacist, the one that had the horns, he cried about he didn't get his little organic diet. And the judge actually said, hey, jailers, see if you can get this guy his organic diet. Like, really? How many brothers got an organic diet in jail, in federal lockup? I haven't heard of one. So, brothers, if you want a better food in jail, well, you know what? You start protesting and ask the judge and say, hey, if you did it for that fool over here that tried to overthrow the government, for surely I didn't try to overthrow the government. I know I haven't done that. I need my organic diet, too. I need my vegetarian diet, too. I want to eat better than what everybody else is eating in here. And if they don't give you that, then file a discrimination lawsuit and say you discriminated against me because you let him do it. Was it because of his color? Oh, yeah, I'm really suing now. Oh, yeah, brothers in jail. Some of you got phones you're watching, sue. But this joker toward the end said something about reparations. And I told you, every time we talk about reparations, well, they're paying attention. See, they're not going to pay attention to Jim Crow Clyburn and, and all that. You know, the rest of them that's not mentioning reparations in the Congressional Black Caucus, they're not going to mention it. It took the grassroots to get that mentioned. And of course, and I'm going to say this again, always be careful of anybody that say they're grassroots to say I, me, if it wasn't for me, because usually that turns into, arrogance. It usually turns into something else. If we're not going to say us, we're not going to say the community, if we're not going to say that, then, we're going to run into a problem. Understand? Arrogance always going to proceed the fall of something. We need unity right now. Okay, even if someone did talk about something first, great. You see a community problem, then we all need to get on board with that. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I can sit up here and point some things out and say what I've done and certain things I've said other people are doing now, or no, that's dumb. It's about having the leadership in the community. But when it comes to, this conversation, this white supremacist said, well, they want to give you reparations. You say, what do you think that's going to do to race relations if they make me give you reparations? Well, first of all, you don't have enough money, white supremacists, to pay anybody anything. Number two, it was U.S. government policy that put black people in the condition that they're in, stole all the wealth from black people, took all their land. There was a report that come out that Bill Gates owns the majority of the farmland in America. It just came out as of now. Why does he want farmland? What does he want to do with the food in this country? See, that's things you need to start asking questions about. But a lot of farmland that Bill Gates have, a lot of it was stolen from black people. A lot of that farmland belongs to black American people, stealing their wealth, because land is wealth. A lot of the mineral rights that black people have on their land, they're stealing the wealth from black people. Understand? So it's U.S. government policy that did that. Now, he says, what would happen to race relations? Well, let's look at it now. Do we have a great relation with white supremacists now? I mean, are we just like just best buddies and we just getting along so well right now? I mean, the white supremacists that's on the police departments. I mean, come on. I mean, are they treating us great right now? Are they? Just a question. Are they treating us good? So I can care less about relations. I don't want a relation with a white supremacist. Why do I want that? It's like if God himself is not reforming the devil, just pay attention. If God's not reforming the devil, then why in the hell would I try to get along with and reform a white supremacist? Do I know more than God? No. And everything the devil do is definitely related with this white supremacist. What do the scriptures teach? The devil come to kill, steal, and destroy. That's the essence of the devil. And didn't those devils that day at that Capitol went to kill, steal, and destroy? If they would have got a hold to certain people, they would have killed them. You saw them destroying things. You saw what they were doing. So, I mean, come on. You never negotiate with a devil. You never try to reform a devil. You can't reform the devil. That's something you cannot reform. So all this trying to talk to a white supremacist, say, my ancestors and we built the country and, my ancestors fought and this and that and this and that. Like, they're deranged. You ever heard of a scripture that say, do not cast your pearls before swine? You would never see me cast my pearls before swine. This is why I don't waste my time when people say silly things to me. Like, I think somebody sent me a message. Well, this person say they will whip you in the debate. I'm not casting my pearl before no swine. That's a waste of my time. My time is so precious to me that the time I could be using casting my pearls before a swine, I could be working on something to get information out for my community. I could be looking at new ideas to try to expand and grow. I could spend time with my family, play with my little girl, talk to my daughters, do something with my son. There's so many different things that I could do instead of wasting my time casting my pearls before swine. I think debating white supremacists, this is my opinion, it's a waste of the time of black people. If I'm not going to engage with a pig in the mud, and you see me out there just wallowing in the mud, didn't they tell you you play with pigs, you gonna end up coming with mud like them? You are above a white supremacist, black people. You are above them. They're beneath you. Based on their actions, how they think, and how deranged they are, as you saw at that U.S. Capitol. You don't waste your time engaging no white supremacists, trying to see if you can find humanity in a white supremacist. No. You can't unify with a white supremacist because, you know, this white corporate media, we need to come together. You can't come together with evil. God has never told you to join together with the devil. He's never told you that. He's told you to shun evil. He's actually told you to hate evil. And yes, God hates. Read the Bible. Read it. Okay? It's 7 things that God hates. 6 are abomination to him. Read it. A lying tongue. Hands that try to go shed innocent blood, like those white supremacists have been doing to us for hundreds upon hundreds of years. God hates that. So don't tell me I can't hate evil. Now, hating people for without a cause is evil. Hating people just because of a skin color, that's evil. Hating people because they're poor, that's evil. And that's not nothing God likes. But just because you just don't like somebody and you just want to hurt and harm, no. I will never love evil. I will never unify with evil. I will never try to explain the people that I represent, what we go through, to anybody evil. I'm not going to do that. That's a waste of my time. The reason why the white corporate media is begging to unify with them is because they see white supremacy is imploding on itself and they better try to get a hold of it. Well, that's not the way it's going to work. This group of people see their world as they know it coming to an end. Understand? Ever since the 400 years happened, ever since that came up, ever since even back in the Bible where it taught you would go to a foreign land and be afflicted for 400 years, then you will come out of them. OK, then that judgment will come upon those people. And ever since the 400 years, those of you who have an ear to hear what I'm saying, those of you who have a spiritual ear and understand what I'm telling you, ever since the 400-year mark, it's been calamity has started on the white supremacists. And has not been done through us. Things they cannot fight. Donald Trump said the coronavirus is the invisible enemy. Y'all didn't hear him say that? See, all them billion-dollar weapons that they got, they can't do nothing with it. Sure, they can try to say inoculate everybody. It's new strains that's popping up every day. They have strains in every country now. They worrying about if their vaccine even work. So you know what? I just kind of like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna let the Lord do his work. And I just tell black folks, just hold your peace. Just hold your peace. Now, see, I didn't even know I was going to go there in this commentary because I don't script anything that I present to you. I really don't. But, you know, like I say, you're not going to get too many messages like this in your church house. That's why I always say have community support of what we do here. You know, it don't cost that much to have community support at all. We definitely need community support to make sure this platform goes. You know, you got Patreon, you got YouTube community memberships. You can do that here. You can do Cash App, etc. So we need all the support we can get. But these white supremacists are worried and they're fighting the wrong people. See, they're imploding on themselves. They're imploding on themselves. And it's not, and let me tell you something, black folks, you stay out of it because even though those like Jim Crow Clyburn, etc., that think this system was going to protect him, he's realizing that them folks was gunning for him too. They just didn't get to him that day. They knew exactly where his office was at, the one that's not even marked. So no, all of you in the Congressional Black Caucus, I'm going to tell you this. You do the dealings of black people. Come back to your community and do what's right because you have hunkered down in that system. And you see that system can't even protect its own now. You will have more protection if you were hunkered down with your community. Ayanna Pressley saying they took away her panic buttons. Oh, them folks were setting y'all up. They were setting y'all up for slaughter. It was only by the grace of God they didn't get to you that day. Who say they may not get to you another day? But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the situation with this brother. That's a police officer that's negotiating with a white supremacist terrorist. Like I said, I told you guys this. I'm going to keep repeating this. Never cast your pearls before swine. Don't you ever, ever, ever negotiate, what we deal with a white supremacist. They're deranged. It goes nowhere.